Should you pull for Squall's FR? His role is going to be that of a melee attacker. His notable attacks are Solid Barrel Plus, his skill 1. It is a total of 5 HP dumps with 2 50% splash. It grants Solitary Lion for 5 turns. What that buff does, it grants both of his skills, Solid Barrel and Renzokuken, to their plus versions. Renzokuken Plus, his skill 2, it is 3 HP dumps with 3 100% splash. Assault Trigger, his EX, it is 4 HP dumps with 4 20% splash, and it extends all of his active buffs by 2 turns. Rough Divide, his LD, 6 HP dumps with 1 80% splash. It increases both of his skill uses by 1. It grants Solitary Lion for 5 turns, and it grants his overhead effect, Roaring Hammer, for 16 turns. What that overhead does, it grants him attack up by 60%, and it also grants him HP cap up by 20%. Last but not least, it gives him a nice follow-up attack. Let's get to what that follow-up attack does. It is called Roaring Hammer. Go figure. It is 3 HP dumps with 1 50% splash, and it triggers after every single attack. Conceal Zeal, his FR. It has a special effect to where if anyone breaks or attacks a broken enemy, the entire party is going to get an HP cap up by 50%. Blasting Zone, his BT. It lasts 8 turns, and whenever Squall moves, it automatically fills his EX gauge guaranteed. With his BT effect, you can spam his EX. And finally, whenever anyone's dealing any damage with HP splash attacks, the entire party gets an additional HP cap up by 30%. Let's get to his force conditions. You're going to be getting a plus 30% whenever anyone in the party uses a melee ability, and a final 40% when anyone has a special overhead effect that's at least level 0. So essentially, when anyone has a level-based overhead or buff on them. This might be a little bit confusing. So to give a few examples of what this would be Rydia's LD buff, Squall's Roaring Hammer, Kor's King's Power Within, Zack's Embrace Your Dreams, and Sice's Malice. All of those will fulfill that second condition. Next up, let's get to Squall's pros. I'll be honest, they're relatively simple, but they're very good regardless. Squall is a top echelon DPS unit. He's going to be right up there in dealing exorbitant amounts of damage, along the likes of Jack Garland, Tifa, Vivi, Sarah, etc. Here's what makes him slightly different from them. He's actually more versatile. His follow-up attack, apart from Jack Garland, who you need to break the enemy or have the enemy broken in order to trigger his follow-up. Sarah, you need to trigger her follow-up by inflicting at least 1 debuff. And with Vivi, he drains the entire party whenever the follow-up happens. Squall doesn't have any of those problems. All it needs is for Squall to move, and that's it, which makes his damage not only very high, but also very, very consistent. The great thing about Squall too is not only does he benefit himself, but he also benefits the team itself. He's a team player, because with all of his cap ups, your entire party is going to be dealing much more damage. The party is going to get a maximum HP cap up of 80%, meaning you're multiplying your entire team's power by 1.8. And with Squall, if you add up all of his buffs for himself, he's getting 100% HP cap up, meaning if his FR is on, he deals double damage. Excuse me? Safe to say his FR is kind of cracked. And last but not least, you guys always know how I love to gawk about easy FR conditions. With Squall, it's no different. His conditions are stupidly easy to satisfy. Realistically, all you need is someone to deal melee damage. That's it. If your entire party is nothing but melee attackers, which is very easy to do nowadays, with Squall's FR, you're getting an easy 70% every single time. And it's very nice because his second condition already is fulfilled by Squall just being in the team. So you don't even have to worry about that. All you need to worry about is whether or not your team can do melee damage. And listen, even if they can't, you have echoes. So if you have a party member that doesn't deal melee damage and you don't want to take up a turn in the force time, pop an echo. It's still gonna work great with him. Squall is the epitome of sweet, simple, to the point. Let's get to Squall's cons. I will be completely real with you guys. It felt like finding a needle in a haystack when I was trying to find cons for Squall, because there aren't a lot. I put 2 cons right here, but realistically wise, they're really not that big of cons. They're just part of a normal unit, but I needed to feel something here. Squall is a very, very simple character. His entire kit is pure damage and damage up. That's it. That's all he does. He has no Imperil built in. He has no elemental damage built in. He has no type of enchanting in. You're going to have to look elsewhere if you want that to happen. And second off, he does need support to deal his highest amount of HP attacks. He's not that self-sufficient to where he can deal max HP dumps by himself alone. You probably can if you have a good debuff call on him, but overall, if you want to maximize Squall's output, you will need a support unit. How horrible. Okay, I know I said 2 cons, but I just came up with a third one. He doesn't really bring anything new or unique to the table. What he does well, units already do. If you're pulling for him and you want something different, you want something fresh, you're not gonna find it with Squall. He is the epitome of your Opera Omnia DPS unit. You deal damage, you have a follow-up, that's it. Again, some people would argue that's not even a con, but listen, I need to fill this space somehow, all right? Don't judge me. My should you pull rating for Squall is going to be an S-. I think he's fantastic, and for new players, if you don't already have an established attacker that you're planning on using on a lot of Shinryu fights, here you go. Here is your top tier DPS on a silver platter. Take it and pull on it. Unless you have some sort of hatred towards Final Fantasy VIII, I don't see why you wouldn't pull on Squall. He's gonna last a long time, and he's gonna do you wonders. For veterans, there's a bit less of a need to get him because, again, he doesn't bring anything new to the table. If you already have a slew of DPS units, if you skipped on him, you probably won't die. So that's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching with me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!